3, 2, 1, hit go!
Form of Young Justice episode. Oh, okay.
I'm the animal, you're the water.
That's lame. That's always so lame. It's so lame. It's so lame. It could an element. Just make it an water, fire, wind. That would be
You got
cool.
an element. You got water.
You
know, also it's cool. Young Justice on DC Universe. Gang, we were able to see a couple of these episodes a little early. Actually, we did a review of the first 3 episodes on our YouTube channel. If you're watching this right now, you're probably there. So thank you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. But now we're going to be talking about episodes 4 through 6 specifically. Do we want to go episode by episode, kind of review them all together?
Yeah, let's do episode by episode-ish.
Cool. So let's talk about episode 304, Private Security.
Can I tell you one thing real quick? First off, Private Security is my favorite episode of the season so far. 2, just get this out of the way real quick. My only real concern with this show right now is they're dropping 3 episodes at a time, and it's like, slow your roll. I want to be able to enjoy this.
Yeah, I want this to last all year.
Yeah, it's like, wait, you've got 30 episodes? Well, then, yeah, just do one a week, and then I can have it a majority of the year.
I have the same complaint, but also it's like, I do like getting 3 episodes at a time. They have a lot of episodes coming out, so...
It's funny, it used to be on kids' DVDs, you'd put 3 episodes together as like mini movies, so maybe that's whatever. I don't know.
Who knows?
But this is my favorite episode. It also plays into my other slight concern is that this show is so serialized that this episode... Oh, no spoilers. Oh!
We can spoil it.
Oh, because it's out now.
It's going out. Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, it's going out.
So when Dick shows up with the other Harper people, I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then they start referring to the Roy that they spent the most time with, who actually is the clone, Ben Reilly much. He's Will now. And I was like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah.
It took me a minute, but I now could watch a whole show of the 3 Harpers just doing basic security jobs.
Because also they made Arsenal's arm pretty dang cool.
And also he's calmed down a little bit, which is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
He's still like a rough around the edges, but like enough that you can still like him.
Palatable.
Yeah.
And Will and
Jim Harper.
That's the one I was waiting for. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I could. And they needed to make it very clear, like, this one has got an eye scar that goes here.
Yeah.
Will, the main one's got the hair
dyed their hair.
It's got to have something that makes it just a little easier to tell them apart.
Or show them in their costumes earlier, because when they do it then, you're like, oh, these guys.
Yeah.
And before, when they're all just wearing the security uniforms, you're like, wait a second.
Super confusing.
Yeah.
Super duper confusing.
But that aside, the bulk of the story is Dick Grayson gets all the Harpers together to do a job, but then Will is like, no, I mean, I got to do this security gig first. And so they're just doing a security job. It's just like a day. I mean, it gets a little heightened. Brick and his cronies try and take the stuff, the good goggles, which are definitely going to come back as a thing later in the season. And that's... I loved it. The kind of like the low stakes after all the big stuff. The kind of low stakes. They're just hanging out.
No, I very much enjoyed this episode as well. The only criticism is I couldn't tell I thought 2 of the characters. I was like, I don't know if this matters right now because they're the same voice actor too. So.
Exactly. Like one has a beard, other's bulkier, the other one looks younger and has a shaved head.
One has the shaved head, and that was easy for me to tell.
Also, robot arm.
And robot arm, which was awesome. It's like, dang it, you gave him the 2 distinct differences, and the other 2 look the same. I know there's slight differences, but not enough for me to remember.
Especially after however many years it's been since we watched the show.
Yeah, long time. And also, you're right. It's like there's a bit of a learning curve going into this. If you just watch this episode in a bottle, you're like, don't know why should I know what is happening right now? It's like, are they twins or triplets? It's like, no, they're all clones, and the real one's the bald one. And
really. Honestly, I should have gone back and rewatched Young Justice before doing this, and I recommend that for other people as well. Just take the time to go back. The subplot in this episode is Artemis takes Halo to meet up with Zatanna to meet up with Dr. Fate, who I did remember is Zatanna's dad, Zatara, and I asked you, it's like, I'm trying to remember, like back in the 40s when Dr. Fate was part of the Justice Society, was he always such an asshole?
Yeah.
Because now the standard Dr. Fate characterization is huge asshole.
Yeah, well, like...
Not evil.
Nightmare, though.
Yeah.
It's very, like, it's kind of like the same fears you get with AI where it's just singular thought.
Yeah.
And that's what Dr. Fate is.
Yeah, it's like, what if God is good and just, but also hates you?
Yeah. it's like, no, it just wants order.
Yeah.
And it's like the friend... It's like when you go over to someone's house and you kind of like you get a little too relaxed and it's like, we have rules.
Yeah,
here. And it's like,
you need to take your shoes off.
yeah, but imagine if that person could just blast you into another dimension
Yeah.
and not feel bad about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's what would happen.
Really easily justify it to himself.
Oh yeah, but it was a sweet moment where it's like, okay, Dr. Fate does have a little bit of humanity, like you can talk to him, and I liked seeing Zatara and Zatanna being together, like they got to be together, and also Halo, her abilities, the more they explore them, is really interesting.
Yeah,
and the main story of this season, the other 2 episodes we're gonna talk about really dives into that, but she's great.
Yeah, maybe this segues into the later episodes. We dive more into Brion and Halo, who are kind of our 2 newer characters. They're kind of like what Jaime was last season. And if you told, like, just the idea of selling me on kind of like Hawk and Dove and Titans. It's like Geo Force and Halo are 2 characters I could not give less of a crap about.
Yeah.
I really don't. I think Geo Force's name is stupid. I don't care about his powers, and his costume sucks. Like I'm just not on board. And now
I agree.
in Halo, I don't think about. You know what I mean? And now it's like, actually, I'm on board with both of these characters. I find them really interesting. I like their rapport.
Yeah, and I like what their rapport and how they play off others, but just specifically for episode 4, Private Security.
Yeah.
Stellar episode. I wish you made it a little bit more distinct, but let's move on to episode 5, where we get to actually go to a place that we've gone to Apocalypse, but we haven't gone to New Genesis. We've met a bunch of characters from there, but this episode's titled Away Mission, and we finally get an episode with like Blue Beetle and Bart Allen.
The current Young Justice team.
Yeah.
And
but
mostly it's been outsiders. Now it's like these characters.
And it's like the main characters from season 2 that I wanted more time with. You got Cassie Sandsmore.
It's Wonder Girl.
There you go. I could remember. But no, I'm a big fan of her. Also, you get the introduction of Traci 13.
Sort of. She's there with a 13 on her stuff, and she uses her powers. And this is another one of those moments like, show, you got to throw me a bone on this one. Because I would say I'm a pretty hardcore comic guy. I was like, maybe it's Traci 13, but I feel like I'm pulling that out of the ether on that one. Like, I don't know.
No, you're not wrong. But I did like seeing her on the team and Static. Like, that's going to be a big one.
God bless that they can still use the milestone characters.
For fans.
Yeah, because Static is great. And good to revisit with Jaime because he was such a standout in season 2.
He was the star of it. The story was all about him, and that's awesome. I don't know why DC Comics turned it back into Magic, because they have a great story with the Reach and everything. So I don't know why they made that more complicated than they needed to.
Also, it's a bummer that they can't. It's ever since the New 52, they can't really quite make characters like Blue Beetle and Static click, which is so crazy because they work so great on shows like this. So it's like, what's going on?
What's wrong with you?
Also, this episode opens with Orion, and right off the top, he's being a doucher, and I'm like, come on, man, like, tone it down. Turns out, not really Orion. It's again deep cut. Megan, I don't know if we've dived into this before, but like, Miss Martian's brother, who, and then they get into the politics of Mars, and I'm like, is this the way it's always been on the show? Because now I'm confusing it with Supergirl, and I don't know.
I think Supergirl is its own little thing.
Yeah.
I think this show's its own little thing, so you can kind of just like accept it.
I just didn't know the Mars politics.
Yeah.
And then we dive right into it.
It does make you feel like a nerd. You're like, oh, that's not how it works. I've seen Supergirl, and it's like, oh, I forgot all this is make believe, so I can calm down. But I did like the way they described that. But I really liked the Ma'alefa'ak is like the villain for Martian Manhunter. Usually it's like a red Martian, and in this it's like more of like an idea, and it's like a nightmare that they have, and I'm like, ooh, this is actually super cool, and they look cool. Like Ma'alefa'ak, whatever this like nightmare is, looks really cool. But best of all is the introduction of Forager / Bug.
Yes,
and we have a picture of him, and he looks awesome. And
it's a great design for the character because Bug's another one that never really stood out to me. And it's like I even picked up all of Mike Allred's Bug story, but the selling point was not the character; it was his writing and his art. Great redesign for Bug, cool characterization,
and like all they're described as bugs, and like I know in like the new world or the fourth world like stories, it's like this thing where it's like they're people kind of, but they're looked at as bugs, and it's like, you know what, it's an alien planet, make them look like bugs.
Well, actually, I think they are bugs. Forager's not. He's a new god disguised as a bug. This one, he's just a bug. Forager's just a bug.
Sometimes you just gotta just let all the air out of your gas.
We've also found out in Mike Allred's story that he smells like crushed ants all the time. Yeah. Distinct. Wow. It's distinct. Yeah. But anyway,
it's so complicated. I like the Greg Weisman and the team. They always do a good job of just kind of boiling everything down. And it's like, this is it.
Yeah.
And it's like, great. So for Bug, he's a bug, and
Yeah.
he's from like another alien world. And he's on the team.
Yeah.
Great. You have plenty of aliens on the team. Now you have Bug.
Yeah,
Cool.
great introduction to the character. Cool to see the Young the Young Justice team, and as we get to know our team, because this season really is focusing on that team of outsiders and getting to know them more, which leads into the next episode.
Oh yeah, no, but this episode was super solid. I like seeing New Genesis, and I like seeing Miss Martian, and I also we didn't talk about this, but her acceptance as like accepting herself as a white Martian, looking like that, and it's like cool. Like these characters, like they're able to do this in Injustice as well, but like some comics where you can like let the characters change and
Like
grow.
grow up and change. It's like if all of the young characters in DC were allowed to be like Nightwing and actually grow up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is really cool because like in this, we found out that we had to be spoiler free last week, but Calderon is now officially Aquaman and also leads the Justice League, which will never happen in comics.
Yeah.
Never. He's not even in continuity right now.
He is.
Okay,
He
but
is
he's not, oh, that's right, because
in
he's on
Titans.
Teen Titans, but he's not being used anymore. Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's like, so it's cool to have a universe where it's like, no, these characters get to grow and change and evolve.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
But then going on to the last episode, we have Rescue Up, but also during Away Mission we had more with what is it, Brion and Halo, which was cool. But in the last episode, Rescue Up, it opens with Black Spider, who I had never heard of that character before this show, and then he started popping up in other stuff, and I recognized him. Which you had actually a fun fact. about the character.
Fun nod. So Greg Weisman, before he did this show, he worked on Spectacular Spider-Man, which is the best interpretation of the character outside of the comics, and it was voiced by Josh Keaton, I believe, who also voices Black Spider. So it's one of those like fun, but also it hurts a little bit because now he's swinging around like Spider-Man too. It's like, I really want that show to come back. Like,
and
it will never happen, but I want it.
They even make a joke about like, oh, maybe I need to work on my quips or something like that. I'm like, that's great. And then we're probably getting an interpretation of Terra, or her name is Tara.
Seems like, although isn't there a version of Terra that was related to Geo Force? There was another. She was part of the Power Girl comic for a minute.
Oh, look, you know what? I'll look it up
Because
I'm what I think would be best for just audiences.
Yeah.
If that's a different
Just
person, make it the same.
Just make it all Terra.
Yeah,
That's fair enough.
Really, like, I like that there's some like rich history, but let's make it easier.
Well, and again, these shows did a good job, and Spectacular Spider-Man mentioning that did a good job too. Of if characters have similar abilities or similar names or whatever, we just consolidate. Like in Spectacular Spider-Man, Silvermane and Silver Sable related. You know what I mean? Like we're just gonna cut to the chase. In this one, Jim Harper is now a clone of Roy. He is a Harper. Like it's not just another dude with the same name. You know what I mean?
They're cousins. Easy.
Yeah.
They look the same. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
But I also in this episode, I like seeing Brion. Like, I like the parallels between him and Connor in the beginning. It's like, and also he's like, I still have anger problems. I work on it all the time. And I know that I was difficult to be around, and you need to identify that you are being difficult to be around right now and we understand. Like, everyone's like super understanding of the fact that like you were exiled, you were not able to go home.
Also, when you throw a tantrum, lava comes out and stuff like that. So you know,
you got to stop.
Yeah, we get it because you're dealing with a lot. But
also, my interpretation of who Connor and McGann's roommate is Snapper Carr, who was in the comics the like kid sidekick to the Justice League who did let the Joker in to Mount Justice, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
but they call him something
they
else.
call him by his real name because Snapper's a nickname.
Chris.
It was.
He's Chris.
Yeah, I know. It was another moment where it was like, oh man, I don't know, I don't remember. But Snapper did show up briefly on the show. We also get a brief look at Oracle, and her and Dick are dating. Yeah, which is cool. But the focus of this episode is seeing Brion and Halo and Bug finally like come together to the new characters. I think we have an asset of them all getting ready to nope.
Later on, but yeah,
there it is. Them in the bus.
Bingo, bango, bongo. No, the bioship.
The bioship, really cool. Which that was another one that like, wait, the Genosphere and the bioship, and then I was like, Megan ship.
Yeah, Megan.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that was.
We're getting there, one step at a time. We're piecing it back together.
And I liked how it was like shape shifting for what they needed and everything, and they're all like living in an RV right now. I'm like, this is.
It didn't. I'm going to be honest. It did not look spacious enough for all three of them.
No.
It seemed like tight quarters, but. They go on a mission, and of course, like, and they even mentioned like the first episode, I think, of Young Justice, the three characters go off on a mission on their own. Doesn't go great. Yeah. Pretty much
It is the same as before.
Pretty much goes to the pits right immediately because they're like, we can take on the League of Shadows, which there's a lot of drama with the League of Shadows. Apparently, Ra's al Ghul is no longer in charge. We meet Sensei, who in the comics, I believe, is now Ra's al Ghul's dad.
Oh, cool.
But it's definitely answering to Ra's al Ghul, excuse me, on this show.
Oh, I won't correct you on that. I know people will. That's fine if you want to call it
I
a
don't
fictional
know, man.
character by whatever name you want to. That's okay. Count Olaf was different in my brain forever. I know not a lot of people didn't know how to say Hermione too.
Yes,
that one.
I would definitely
Hermione. That's what everyone thought.
I thought it was Hermione.
Yeah.
I was like, what a stupid name.
Yeah, Raish or Raz, both are great. But anyways, but there's drama. But I like the idea that it's like they bring up the fact that like Raish is being honest. But I'm like, I still don't buy it. Like I think there's something else happening. Also, I like the idea that somebody came in and took the league from him.
Yeah.
That, like he's basically out here by himself with Sensei. And also I don't need to know who Sensei is, but I'm like, oh, your facial hair grows all the way up below your eyes, doesn't it? That's interesting.
I also liked the Tigress's little character beats on the show, I think, are what really make it. Like Tigress like, is it my dad?
Yeah.
He's like, no. Is it my sister?
Yeah.
Like, no, get out of here. Like, no, it's not either of them.
Fair to ask.
Yeah.
And worth asking.
Which, by the way, props to that show making Sportsmaster scary as hell, man. Because he's such a goofy, like, if you look him up, whatever, he's super goofy. But in the show, he was super scary. Also, but it was like a Batman checklist at the end of the episode. Because, like, Talia comes out with the baby Damien. And then there's the guy that was like, wait, Dick Grayson? Mm-hmm. Jason Todd, right? It's gotta be.
And he's wearing like a half mask, like his like New 52 or whatever. Who I don't know
Rebirth, whatever.
Right now. It's cool though. I like the full mask, but I do like the half mask too. It's very
which I kind of was assuming that like, oh, we're just gonna let Jason's because we got Roy coming back from the dead. We're just gonna Jason's just dead in this universe. Like, nope, guess not. Guess we're going there.
You're doing the full story, and that actually is pretty cool. I'm on board with it. And Tim's off doing his thing. And where everybody's at right now, it's super interesting, and it's just cool that everyone's able to age up. I do like seeing Brion learn to use his powers, and Halo, because Halo never seen this person before, never seen this character before, and the use of like she can like change the light that's emitted from her, and it makes different abilities happen. I'm like, oh man. You could be super OP besides the fact that these have to happen one at a time.
And one at a time, also, they're really getting a lot of mileage of the fact she can bring herself back to life.
And everyone keeps forgetting that she can do that.
Yeah, and those are the moments that are so like, oh, I don't know if this is a kid's show anymore. Like, I know she comes back and is bloodless, but it's still pretty gruesome.
Yeah, there's some blood in this show. Yeah. In the third episode, there's some... out of the chest. That was a rough one.
Oh, and also stuff when this is going back to the last episode, but when the two lackey metahumans for the White Martian die, it's like, I know they're not humans, but that's still gross.
They're children.
Yeah.
They are.
And parts of them are exploding.
Yeah. The pus one was... Maybe you might want to be alive.
Yeah, maybe you did that one a favor, but you know what? We don't need to get into that.
Its life did not seem very good.
No, it didn't.
I'm really glad Geo Force didn't get in the hands of somebody else because he's got the tantrums right now and the full like turning anything
He's a lava
into...
bender, straight up.
Oh yeah, lava bender. Yeah,
lava
makes me happy.
Yeah.
No, but this final episode is really cool and it's just great. I have the same feeling as you of like slow your roll with releasing these episodes, but 3 at a time is super cool. It makes me feel like it's this weird mix of like binging. Like it's like timed, but also like this is the normal length of a normal hour-long TV show. You're just having to watch credits in between.
Yeah. By the way, love what they're doing with the credits, where it's just somebody like chilling. By the way, what's going on with Wolf napping all the time?
Oh, is he getting old?
It felt like a plot point or something.
I think he's getting old.
It might be like, the animation budget we don't have. Weirdly, we have the same problem Game of Thrones has with their wolves. Like, we can't afford to do the wolf.
Maybe, but like, I think maybe that probably is what it is. I think we were talking about this before, but maybe like budget-wise, they're like, hey, I'm pitching an episode where 3 characters are all clones, so they look the same. Very minor differences. Yeah. And at least 6 of the characters are voiced only by 2 people. Great, awesome. There's only 8 total in the episode.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah,
totally on board with this.
The guy we've talked about this too. The guy that's voicing Black Lightning, great, but he's also voicing at least 2 other characters each episode.
And not upset, but you do notice it after a while. Yeah. But this season has been amazing so far.
Agreed.
I wish DC Universe had kicked off their whole shebang with this. Also, I hope there's another season after this. I understand that when it comes to animation, there's a lot of planning and a lot of hard work that goes into this, so I could understand that maybe they planned for this to kind of cap everything off. I would bum me out, though, because this is really top-notch. This is really good.
It's really good. But if it does cap it off, way to end on a high note. And I'm glad that we get to finish up the story and keep out going with these characters because it is a reminder how much I enjoy this take on the characters. And I know the show left like right when the New 52 was happening. And it's like, you should have taken more elements from this because they did a good job of just streamlining and incorporating so many cool things.
And also, if you guys are into Young Justice, they have a comic based on the characters of the show, like kind of in universe, on the DC Universe app, which you can read.
Nice, very cool.
And you have what you were going to mention from Brian Michael Bendis, creator of Miles Morales and Jessica Jones. Just kicked off Wonder Comics, a new imprint for DC that includes a Young Justice comic.
Yeah, which has characters like it's different, but it has Impulse and Connor Kent and Tim Drake's Robin.
Yeah, which is super exciting, and a couple new ones, which is really fun too. Yeah. So we'll see what they're like. So let us know what you think about that. But also, most importantly, this is a spoiler-filled discussion you're getting here. But to get more of this, go ahead and click up here or up here at some point. You'll see a little link to our Patreon because we have a show called Super TV Showdown. If you're not already watching, you should join us over there and watch along with us. We do our spoiler discussion of this show, all of other DC Universe shows, and all the CW shows. You got your Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm doing a review of Runaways very soon.
Oof.
Yes, I am doing them all at Gifted.
Yeah, so
watching that one too.
Patreon.com/OnlyStupidAnswers for more of that. If you want to watch our shows live, you can tune in on Twitch.tv/PlayNoggin Wednesdays and Thursdays at 3:30 p.m. You can, for all the updates and more, you can go to Twitter at OnlyStupidAnswers.
Link out the vowels from stupid.
Or OnlyStupidAnswers.com.
Pretty cool. DJ Wildred, Sam Basher. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.